Welcome back to our channel where we provide updates and undisclosed narratives on Catherine, Princess of Wales, and her royal family. We are excited to share the following news. Buckingham just dropped a bombshell on Meghan's new business after UK Parliament's shock demand. There is said to be a coordinated attack going on in the sacred halls of Westminster and the glittering halls of Buckingham Palace. This attack threatens to destroy the Duchess of Sussex's business plans. As Prince William gets ready to face charges that Meghan Markle is threatening to take him to court, a powerful combination of royal strategy and legislative emotion is forming. The goal is simple: to make it apparent that using royal titles for personal gain is not acceptable. The British monarchy has been through 1,000 years of wars, abdications, and scandals, but it is now going through an internal restructure that is both harsh and revolutionary. The main reason for this tempest is that King Charles III and his successor Prince William have very different ideas about how to run the country. The king wants to use diplomacy based on family reunification, while the Prince of Wales is said to be leading a scorched earth effort to protect the crown from what he sees as the economic exploitation of its reputation. This tale is becoming more complicated. It includes high-stakes trademark fights, covert advisory teams from all around Europe, and more voices in the UK Parliament calling for the institution's safety at any cost. The parliamentary stand, a matter of national identity. The palace is not the only place where this new level of intensity emanates from. It is also from the political core of the UK. Members of Parliament MPs are more and more worried about non-working royals who nevertheless use their titles in the private sector. Holly Lynch, a well-known member of Parliament, has spoken about how complicated the Sussexes' relationship with the media and the institution is. But the talk in Westminster has changed from compassion to criticism. More and more lawmakers want to make the limits of royal status clear. The argument says that the titles Duchess or Duke are gifts from the sovereign and, by extension, the state. When such titles are used to sell lifestyle items, get streaming partnerships, or start media empires that often attack the same institution that gave them out, it causes constitutional tension that Parliament wants to fix. This political pressure gives Prince William the support he needs to carry out a vision that many insiders say is unprecedented. Reports say that the prince is trying to silence his sister-in-law's growing power, not because he hates her, but because he needs to protect the monarchy's brand. People are becoming more and more upset over Meghan's new initiatives, which are big changes that some say are hurting the royal empire's sense of belonging. The rift, the king's mercy versus the prince's plan. To really grasp how serious things are right now, you need to look behind the scenes at the silent fight going on at the very top of the British monarchy. Father and son have different ideas on how to live. King Charles III and Prince William recently made a rare public appearance together to support a cause that is very important to the heir apparent. To someone who does not know them well, their styles could appear to go well together: the calm, experienced king and the lively contemporary heir. But those who know them say that their ideas on the Sussex problem are quite different. King Charles is a person who is shaped by how he was raised and how smart he is emotionally. He puts his family first while he rules. He thinks that compassion, understanding people's situations, and keeping lines of communication open are all important. Charles prefers quiet behind-the-scenes negotiations over tea. He thinks that the only honorable way for members of the royal family to settle their differences is to make peace. He sees the monarchy as a family enterprise where personal problems can be worked out with time and care. Prince William, on the other hand, looks at the issue from a cold, hard, strategic point of view. He believes in planning following the rules and safeguarding the monarchy at all costs, even if it means going against his old father. A rising number of courtiers, including William himself, think that Charles's way of governing has too many weaknesses. They see the king's benevolence and desire for unity as a possible vulnerability, something that successful rulers of the past would never have used when the crown's integrity was on the line. William has been becoming more and more angry over the previous several years that have gone by. He has seen that his father's clemency and the palace's rather laid-back attitude toward the Sussexes' departure have not helped the situation. William thinks that this softness is ruining the royal brand, which used to be quite strong. He thinks that the present system gives anyone who wants to speak out against the crown a platform and a feeling of legitimacy. William thinks that his father's system is making the slide worse even if people's confidence in the monarchy goes up and down. He calls his sister-in-law's business operations the bitter frosting on the cake, which shows how scared he is that the monarchy is being auctioned off piece by piece. Loggerheads, a father and son at odds. It is said that this difference in beliefs reached its peak at a private meeting between father and son. It was painfully evident that they were looking at the problem from two quite different points of view. Charles observes familial ties that are damaged and need to be fixed. He sees his son Harry, his daughter-in-law Meghan, and his grandkids. He thinks that talking about how they feel and what they are going through would help them work things out. He works on the idea that the lost son will come back if the door is left open. William, on the other hand, sees a structural flaw that has to be fixed right now. He sees an issue that might be fixed right away by strictly following the rules and using authority. He thinks of the family members who disagree with him as weak branches that need to be cut off before they spread their problems to the rest of the tree. William looks at the institution which has been there for 1,000 years and sees that it has lasted so long because it can be rigorous and unyielding when it needs to be. The monarchy lasted for hundreds of years because it had a clear spine. William thinks that the present monarchy does not have this spine because it tries to be modern and flexible. He is worried that things will become worse if big adjustments are not made. Because of this, the Prince of Wales is not happy to sit back and wait for his time to be king. He is actively involved in changing the organization right now, functioning as a shadow CEO of the firm. The secret team bringing European efficiency to the U.S. to assist him in reaching his aim of bringing the royal name back to its former glory. Prince William is already putting together a team of specialists and smart people. It is important to note that this squad does not only include the normal British nobles and courtiers. William has apparently hired experts from Sweden, Denmark, and Germany to show that he is committed to making things more contemporary. He picked specialists from these nations because they come from areas where monarchs have effectively moved from old systems to more efficient contemporary ones. William is writing a playbook based on what works in the 21st century. Queen Margrethe II of Denmark is the one case study that has really caught William's interest. The Danish queen did something a few years ago that shocked all of Europe's royal families. She made a brave and controversial choice to take away the royal titles of 4 of her own grandchildren. These people were not distant relatives, they were her direct progeny. Queen Margrethe said that having too many persons with royal titles made things confusing and made the monarchy less important. In a monarchy, there is no need for uncertainty. You need clarity and strength, was the general idea. She said that the institution has to be sovereign in order to endure not just a huge group of people with different levels of dedication. This concept struck right away with Prince William and his staff. It was the personification of the sovereignty and absoluteness he was looking for. He looked at how the people reacted and how Queen Margrethe dealt with the situation after it happened. Even though there was a lot of anger at first and wounded sentiments in the Danish family, the monarchy came out stronger, more united, and less weighed down by the hangers-on story. William was interested in both what she did and how she did it. It was calm, planned, and final, which are everything he thinks his father's government is missing right now. It was evident to him that monarchies need to reform before they have to. You do not wait for a crisis to happen. You act when you see one coming. The new framework. Are you in or out? William is using what he learned from Europe to create a new set of rules that will fix the weaknesses in his father's system. This is not a strategy made out of anger, but to protect. William is laying the groundwork to make sure that the empire he loves and is meant to govern will live on. The main idea behind William's concept is exclusivity. He thinks that the borders that define what it is to be royal have gotten too blurry. William wants the game to be simple. If you serve the crown, you are part of it. You are out if you don't. This theory says that you either step in, serve the title, and devote your life to the institution, in which case the crown protects and raises you, or you step aside, pursue independence, and look for public approval. If you pick the second option, the crown does not travel with you. The crown meant everything to William, but if it means everything, it cannot be for everyone. It is powerful because it is exclusive. He thinks that those with familial ties cannot call themselves royals while also trying to make money. If everyone is a little bit royal, the idea does not signify anything anymore. This new system is meant to be assessed by what you do, not just by who you are. William wants the king, the queen, and the monarchy itself to be the only ones who decide who is genuinely royal. The crown protects, gives privileges, and calls those his/her royal highness who work for it full-time. Family members who are just connected to the king will be treated with respect, but they will not be considered royalty in the formal sense. The pen's power to change things. William's plan for how to put this new type of rule into action is bureaucratic, boring, and very successful. It is making status official by using official documents like letters patent and royal warrants. William imagines a system in which choices are made by official papers with the royal seal. There is no space for discussion with this strategy. It does not provide them a place to talk things over or make emotional pleas. The royal household's ruling council makes a choice, sends out a letter, and keeps a copy in the royal archives. This return to formal written government is a smart step. For hundreds of years, the British monarchy has used paperwork as a potent instrument. William thinks that the present generation ought to use it more actively. There is structure when there is an official document. It is evident what the choice is. There would be no more gray area for the Sussexes to work in, where they could criticize the institution while still using their positions. The suggested message would be easy: thank you for your service. We are done, and the monarchy is going on. You are no longer royal. This makes a huge wall with the word boundary written in big letters on it. The only thing that has to happen for it to become genuine is the sovereign's signature. Sources say that King Charles has been hesitant, but the constant pressure from William and the changing political atmosphere in Parliament may push him to make a decision. The target, the Duchess of Desertion. This new framework is called a generic modernization plan, but it is clear that it is aimed at one particular thing: the Sussex brand. Prince William is said to have had Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, in mind when he made these rules. The term royal is virtually everything that makes up her corporate empire, which includes media production, lifestyle businesses, and publishing. The title of Duchess is what sets her apart from the others. If William's new legislation goes into effect, it would be terrible for Meghan. She could keep the legal name Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, like a divorced peeress, but the loss of the HRH style and the palace's public decision to stop recognizing her would hurt the brand. The title would no longer be important to diplomats and royals. William knows quite well that Meghan's team has made a lot of money from her royal position. He thinks of this as social media royalty that makes the real thing less valuable. William wants to break the connection between the Crown and the Sussexes' business interests by strictly defining what it means to be a working royal. This demotion also affects Prince Harry. William thought that Harry would be a cherished brother and son in private, but in public he would be a duke who did not work and had no formal status. William says that this is not done out of spite, but to safeguard the service's honor. The trademark showdown. Did a preemptive strike fail? The Sussex Group and the palace have been at odds for a while, and they recently had a quiet but brutal fight over intellectual property. While William was in London working on his plans for a new era of monarchy, Meghan's crew in California was said to be keeping a close eye on things. There were signs coming over the Atlantic about reforms, restructuring, and boycotting. The Sussex team is said to have gone into crisis mode when they realized that their star's media presence relied primarily on the royal connection. They realized that if they broke off their ties with the royal family, the partnerships, the huge articles, and the invites to power summits may stop coming. They sought a means to own the brand before the palace could take it from them. They are said to have come up with a trademark application as a remedy. They wanted to protect their economic rights to the term Duchess of Sussex or a similar brand name by trademarking it. This way, the palace could not change its mind. It was a smart pitch if it worked. The talk would go from royal rules to legal ownership. But everyone saw this coming. The palace, which has been preserving the sovereign's image for hundreds of years, saw it coming. Royal titles cannot be sold because of rules and regulations that have been there for a long time, some of which were recently strengthened. Reports say that the effort to trademark the term for a broad range of products and services was basically dead on arrival. The palace has ways to stop these kinds of acts, since they might lead people to think that the items have royal approval. The Sussex squad lost this game badly. It showed that the half-in, half-out paradigm cannot work in the long run. You cannot trademark a title that the state owns. The future a steel monarchy. The British monarchy's path looks to be changing as the dust settles on this latest episode. The family firm period when feelings-shaped policy is coming to an end. Prince William is building a monarchy of steel instead. It is streamlined, exclusive, and fiercely protective of its brand. The walls are closing in on Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. People are already feeling the ripple consequences of Prince William's angry choices. London's message is clear. The crown is not a way to get famous. It is a life of devotion. You lose the magic if you leave the service. William's case is becoming stronger because the UK Parliament is becoming more interested in it. Lawmakers are challenging the legitimacy of titles used for business purposes, and the heir to the throne is constructing a legal and structural framework to maintain exclusivity. This is the biggest challenge to the Sussexes' new business empire. William thinks that if everyone is unique, then no one is. He wants to bring back the mystery and power of the British crown by not giving the title to those who do not work for it. He is not trying to get back at anybody. He is just trying to make sure that when he finally becomes king, there is still a throne worth sitting on. The peaceful fight at the top of the monarchy is no longer so quiet. The lawyers are ready, the lines are drawn, and the destiny of the royal family is being rewritten not with a fountain pen on parchment, but with a sharp strategic blade. What this means for the Constitution. To properly comprehend how big this change is, you have to go beyond the tabloids and understand how the Constitution works. The British monarchy is based on a fragile balance between tradition and the will of the people. The royal prerogative is a huge corpus of customary power, privilege, and immunity that is recognized in common law. However, it is not limitless. The king has always been the only one who could give out titles of honor. But Parliament still has the last say. The Titles Deprivation Act of 1917 is a historical example that constitutional experts regularly use. It was passed during World War I and let the UK take away peerages from its adversaries. The Sussexes are not an enemy in the sense of war, but the fact that such laws exist shows that Parliament may step in if it thinks that using titles is bad for the state. This is where MP Holly Lynch's remarks and the complaints from other MPs become important. If people really believe that the monarchy is being grifted, Parliament may feel that it has to do something to safeguard the state's honor. This possible political need fits well with Prince William's plan. By aggressively reducing the size of the monarchy and setting stringent limits, he is protecting the institution against intervention from the legislature. He is cleaning up so that Parliament does not have to. The heir's psychology. This story is mostly about how Prince William went from being a quiet, sad youngster who walked behind his mother's coffin to the tough tactician he is now. People who have seen William say that he has taken more after his grandmother, Queen Elizabeth II, than his father, Charles. The late Queen was famed for her famous saying, "Never complain, never explain," as well as her strong sense of responsibility. She famously said that she would spend her entire life serving others no matter how long or short it was. William has taken this to heart. He sees the Sussexes leaving as not just a betrayal of the family, but also a failure to do their job, which is against the holy pledge that royals swear. People who know him say his wrath is incandescent, and it comes from a feeling of allegiance to the institution. He thinks that Harry and Meghan made fun of the service that his grandma worked hard for. So his new framework is not only about running things, it is also about doing the right thing. It is an effort to put the ideas of duty and service into the laws of the monarchy. The Sussexes' business reality. On the opposite side of the Atlantic, people are starting to understand what William's border wall really means. The Sussex brand has done well because of the problems with the palace. The interviews, films, and memoirs all came from the point of view of someone who was there. But when they are pushed more to the edge, losing their official status, being refused trademarks, and being disregarded by the palace machinery, their worth as insiders goes down. If they just become celebrities, they will have a lot of competition. They have to compete with famous people from Hollywood, internet billionaires, and politicians without the special glow of the British crown. William's plan puts them at risk, since it might make them commonplace. The unsuccessful attempt to get a trademark was a last-ditch effort to make sure they were legally exceptional. The palace's refusal to accept it is a clear sign that although they live in Montecito, their importance is still in London, where the gates are shutting. The end of an era is the conclusion. The bombshell that Parliament and the palace unleashed is not just one event, it is the end of a long process. The British elite, which is hesitant to become angry but will not back down once it does, has concluded that things cannot go on like this. King Charles may have his heart set on making peace, but the cold logic of survival may win out. Prince William is getting the monarchy ready for the next 100 years, with the help of his team of European specialists and his spine of steel. It will be a smaller, sharper, and more selective school. The writing on the wall is clear for Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. The empire they wanted to construct on the basis of their royal titles is being torn down in a controlled way. The future belongs to those who serve, and the Sussexes have given up their jobs in the eyes of the future king. The royal part of their brand is diminishing, so they will have to face the world as Harry and Meghan, which may be the scariest punishment of all. Thank you for watching the video. Please let us know your thoughts and say goodbye for now.